So this here is a multi-camera compilation video of the attack that happened to me on July 7th, 2016 in downtown Portland, where I somehow was the one who was found guilty of defending myself when I was attacked by a mob of masked protesters who premeditated and planned out their attack on me. Up in the upper left-hand corner here is the surveillance video from the Hatfield building, which is the federal courthouse. This is looking southbound down 3rd Avenue towards the Justice Center. In the upper right-hand corner here is another surveillance video from that same building. This one is situated along Main Street and can pan around. Right now, it's focused towards the southwest on Main Street. In the lower left-hand corner is my first-person video from the event, because I was there filming. This was the video that had been ordered sealed by the judge and was not unsealed until 4 months after the trial. In the lower right here, we have a video from the ledge of the Justice Center, and this one can be seen on the Stumptown Matters channel. Now, I did not include the Mike Bluehair videos because, A, anybody watching this has probably already seen those, and B, these lesser seen videos actually reveal quite a bit more than what the Bluehair videos do. That's no slight to Bluehair, just, the way the scene panned out. And then in the upper middle here, we're going to see the Mike Bivens Periscope video pop in. Mike Bivens is an independent street videographer, covers a lot of these protests and whatnot. He did not start recording until after the initial attack on me, so that will kick in when that happens. All these videos are pretty well synced together. I couldn't get them exact because some of these frame rates are all funky and whatnot. If anybody out there is aware of previous Mike Bivens footage from this altercation here, please link me to it, because the only one I've been able to find starts up after it was already a scene, after I was already attacked. I'd love to find a different angle of the initial attack. So anyways, here we go. So pay close attention here. Let's focus our efforts at first here in the upper right-hand video here. You'll notice a group of folks right here in the little raised walkway of the Justice Center. These are the anarchist types. They're starting to gather up now to formulate their plan. You'll see a couple of their flagpoles appear here in a second. So now we start to see some action here in this upper right-hand video here. That's Ben Carenza, the large 400-pound individual. He is the first one to make his way down the steps, leading the mob of masked anarchists. Now you can watch in the upper left-hand video here from the other surveillance video. Now this one's going to pick up on the location of the Carenza and the anarchists. And yes, there's Ben Carenza, the large guy. Now, another interesting thing here. The guy who mans this security camera, whether he's a U.S. Marshal, FBI, or some kind of subcontracted security company, why do you think he would zoom the camera in on this particular group of people? Might it possibly be because people who meet this particular profile of dressing all in black or other dark clothing with hoodies, masks over their faces, carrying the anarchist flags, might it possibly be that people who do that tend to be the violent ones at protests like this? Gee, I wonder. So now they're coming in to get me, and that is Ben Carenza leading the mob. So it's too bad that these trees here were blocking the initial attack from them, so that's not actually on that video. Let's turn our attention now to the lower left-hand video from my first-person video. And this is, as far as I know, this is the only video out there that has the initial attack on me. If anyone else out there knows of one, please let me know. So Ben Carenza and these other guys, dressed in dark clothing, covering their faces, carrying their flagpoles, they make a beeline for me. They intentionally surround me. Ben Carenza comes up behind me. They start pushing and shoving me, well, shouting, "Get the F out of here, you racist. Get the F out of here." And I'm saying, "I'm not a racist. Dude, don't put your hands on me." Because that's when they started pushing and shoving me. Here's another interesting thing here. Let's watch the upper left video here, the Hatfield surveillance video. Watch how many people come jumping down off this ledge to come join in. Now, what kind of person comes running towards a guy who has a gun? Secondly, notice they're coming from the approximate area where Carenza and the initial band of masked mobsters came from. I can't help but wonder if these people who now jumped in as part of the scene, if maybe that was part of the plan, considering they came from that same area where just moments before the group was conspiring to come in and confront me. So I start to retreat, and I issue several verbal commands. Don't put your hands on me. They start bearing down on me as I start to retreat. And now let's pay attention to the Stumptown Matters video here on the lower right-hand corner. Now everybody has recognized that this is a scene. You're going to hear Alyssa Pagan, who has the megaphone there. She starts shouting, "Leave him alone, let him go, let him go." Obviously, those folks can see that it's an altercation where I had been ganged up on. Otherwise, why would she be shouting that through the megaphone? And that was where I first flipped open my jacket to reveal that I did have a firearm on me. A full 11 or 12 seconds after the initial physicality began. Also, notice what you don't see in any of these images. The police. There are no uniformed, visible police anywhere around, which is very, very odd. I've covered dozens of these protests over the years, maybe upwards of 100. And in nearly every case, you have, police around somewhere, especially when you have hundreds of people in the street for an unpermitted short notice march. Yet on this particular day, they decided for whatever reason to not have a presence at the protest. Notice at this point that I'm using my monopod as my sort of intermediary defensive tool here. Now, monopod is what I put the camera on when I go and cover protests. It's like a tripod, but it's just one stick that it's collapsible in and out. It works great for covering protests. But I'm using that as sort of the initial defensive tool. in case they were to try to hit me with their flagstaffs or, their fists or, anything else. I could at least use the monopod to sort of, fend them off in that regard. But as you can see, fortunately, I was not hit further. I can't help but think that the monopod had, something to do with that. But it also did not deter them at all from continuing to advance towards me. So you have all these people who are now intentionally inserting themselves into a scene to confront a guy whom they know has a gun. Now, let's pay close attention to Mr. Carenza's movements here. So this is Carenza here. He's going to separate from the group, and that's very important towards the end of this. So you can see Carenza ducked out of the scene in the lower right-hand video. And then that's him right along the curb right here in the upper left-hand video. And you can see the Bivens video has now kicked in. So now let's look at the upper left-hand one again. You can see that's Carenza right there next to this yellow sign here. The group is backing me down right here, yet Carenza has separated. That's very interesting. He gets the crowd riled up against me, but he's the one who separates from the bunch. It's very interesting. So another thing to be wary of is Malcolm Chaddock's movements. So Malcolm Chaddock, I'll back this up a little bit here. Malcolm Chaddock is the guy standing next to this crosswalk right here. You'll see him pop into the Stumptown Matters video here. You're going to watch him circle around my back and come up right next to me on my right, arms outstretched towards me as he continues towards me. So looking at the Stumptown Matters video, we see Chaddock is now directly behind my back after starting out. More here, he is now circling around my back. Meanwhile, Carenza has separated from the group. That's him on the curb right there. Meanwhile, I got all these other people right in my face, backing me down. So now Carenza has started off the curb a little bit faster than he was before. You can see Malcolm Chaddock here coming around. You can see that guy there just shed his backpack. Let's watch this again. Look on the lower right here. This guy right here sheds his backpack. Now, looking in the Bivens video here in the upper center, we see how close Malcolm Chaddock is to me, with his arms outstretched towards me. Now, here is the decisive moment. So my attention was drawn mostly to my right. Because this is where the bulk of the mob was. This is where Malcolm Chaddock had now inserted himself into the scene, circling behind my back, coming right up from my right, arms outstretched towards me as he comes towards me. So being distracted, that's when Ben Carenza here starts to come up on what is then my blind side. Now, keep in mind, he is the guy who organized the anarchists, led them down the stairs, led them into the crowd to confront me. He's the one who circled behind my back. He's the one who started shouting, "Get the F out of here." He's the one who started pushing and shoving me. Now he's followed me. He's pursued me all the way around here. Now he's coming up on what is at that point my blind side. But because I have high situational awareness, I'm still kind of scanning around. Now, we've established that he is approximately 11 feet from me at this particular moment. I had every reason to believe that his 400-pound body, yes, he's literally twice my size, that he was just seconds away from pummeling me into the pavement. And then everybody else, in a mob mentality, already being very aggressive and hostile towards me, seeing that happen, mob mentality kicks in. I had every reason to believe I was about to be pummeled by several people and robbed of my personal possessions. You may notice that I've had a backpack on me. In my backpack is my computer, extra batteries for my camera stuff. I think I even had another camera or two in there. Power supply for the computer. I had my earbuds. Additionally, I had water and snacks and whatnot. On top of all that, I have my camera with me and my gun, which they know about. That could very easily have been used against me. But I had every reason to believe that these people were about to pummel me and rob me of my personal possessions. I have had that happen to me before. I have suffered a massive injury and had personal equipment of mine stolen from me while in the field. So this was the decisive moment where Benjamin Carenza and these other guys left me with no choice but to draw my legally owned, legally concealed firearm in self-defense. And for that, I was the one found guilty of 21 counts. And the masked mob that confronted me, encircled me, attacked me, and coerced me out of the area, they are somehow considered to be the poor innocent victims. Essentially, this case has legalized mob violence and nullified the First Amendment. What they're basically saying is that I did not have the right to be in a public area filming a public protest as part of the First Amendment, freedom of the press, and that these other people somehow, for some reason, had the right to forcibly remove me from a public area. That's a very, very scary precedent. Visit youtube.com/laughingatliberals for more on the fallout from the attack on me from July 7th of last year.